Life's a blur till you live, and I'll be the first to admit it. I wouldn't listen to you even if you voiced your opinion. Cause when you this high in the clouds, bands come with division.
Hello everyone. So I know you guys saw the title of this video, and it's probably the reason why you clicked on it. This is actually a story that I have been wanting to tell for a very long time, and just haven't found my way of getting it out. You know, it's not the easiest thing to talk about, and you know, some people find it embarrassing, some people are shameful, and I went through those stages. Now I'm at a point where I just want to share with other women, so that if they find themselves currently in a situation like I was in, or, you know, so they can hopefully prevent to be in a situation like I was in. So this story is from 2012. So we were friends for about 2.5 to 3 years prior to dating. Let's just name him Daryl. 2012. I was living with my daddy at the time, and I actually just got out of a long-term on and off relationship. I was pretty vulnerable and hurt because it was a situation where I thought I was going to be in forever, you know. I remember on Facebook seeing that Daryl was having a pool party. And so, you know, I was single, newly single, and I was just like, I'll go to a pool party. I'm bored. I have nothing to do. I talked to my best friend. She was down to go as well. We go to Daryl's house. We get there, and this was red flag number one, y'all. We get there, and nobody was there. Not one single individual. I think this was in June, and it was still light outside to, like, for people to be there, but nobody was there. My best friend and I still chilled for a little bit, put our feet in the water, and was talking to Daryl. We chatted up for a little bit. My best friend and I, you know, just kind of was laughing. We were taking pictures. Then we left. And so when we left, me and her, of course, you know what best friends do, we're talking. And she was explaining to me how she feel like Daryl liked me. And I was just like, really? I was like, because I never really looked at him, you know, like that. And she was like, yeah, like he made it obvious that he likes you. You know, I didn't really think much of it. Him and I already had each other's numbers. So, you know, I want to say we probably communicated that same day. Y'all, I don't know if it's because I have literally like disconnected myself from some of the situation where I just don't remember. So I don't even remember how we went from a friendship to a relationship. I really don't know. I just know that it was very, very quick. And I know that it was dead wrong. It was dead wrong because I was already in a vulnerable state. And so, again, not wanting to be alone, I just went with it because I knew him. Well, things with Daryl started to show up very fast. And even still, I tried to give the benefit of the doubt. So one of my cousin's birthday is in the beginning of July. And I remember telling him I was going to my cousin's cookout. And I remember him specifically asking me, are any guys going to be there? And for me, it was just like, mind you, I'm 21 at the time, almost about to be 22. And I was just confused because I'm like, it's a cookout. I mean, everybody's there. Men, women, you know, kids maybe. And it's family. So who knows? We always have, you know, live cookouts. So I'm like, I'm almost positive, yeah. So I just remember him getting an attitude and was saying how he didn't want me to be there if other guys were going to be there and that I needed to not go and things of that nature. And I just remember telling him, I'm going where I want to go. Like, I'm not disrespecting you. I am going to a cookout. If you don't trust me to be around other males, then that sounds like a personal problem, right? That was red flag number 2. After my cousin's cookout in July, it was her birthday's early July. For actual birthday plans, she wanted to go to Miami. So a couple weeks later, we went to Miami. But before we went to Miami, Daryl got arrested and went to jail. And I want to say at that time he got arrested and went to jail because he was caught driving on a suspended license for the who know how many times. And they locked him up. And I want to say they gave him like 15 days or something like that. He was going to go to Miami with us as well for my cousin's trip. My cousin was not feeling it, but he got arrested before we went. And so I remember speaking to him on the phone, on the jail phone, and I remember he was supposed to be paying for a lot of that stuff. And, you know, like the flights and stuff was already purchased, but he was supposed to be paying for a lot of like our food and drinks and stuff like that, but he got arrested. And you know, he was talking and he was just like, you know, are you still gonna go? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, you know, are you still gonna use my card? And I was like, yeah. When I got back from Miami, shortly after he was released, August rolls around. My birthday's August 3rd. I don't know if it was my exact birthday, but I just remember I went to the bowling alley. And this year, again, I was turning 22. I went to the bowling alley and I had a couple friends come, including males. And these 3 specific males that came were 3 of my childhood friends. We grew up together. We're like brothers and sisters. And when Daryl saw these 3 males walk in and he saw that they were coming over to where we were, he left. He really was like, oh, they coming over here, and left. Like, this is my birthday and these are my friends. Okay, that was red flag number 3, y'all. Then I want to say maybe that following weekend, I actually had a cookout at my sister's house. I remember Daryl buying me a Betty Boop birthday cake. He got me a bear. He got a little teeny bear because I don't do big bears, in a car. He was supposed to come back for the cookout, and I don't think he did. Dealing with Daryl was very negative because I began to distance myself from family and friends because of the toxic situation we were in. If I would spend a night, a couple nights with him and then get ready to go back to my father's house, he would like start an argument or accuse me of cheating or talking to somebody else. And he just would just make me feel really bad, to the point where because I didn't want to argue, I just stayed there. This story that I'm sharing, my family doesn't even know every bit of it. So some of them, this may even be new to them, you know. So after my birthday, things really began to go downhill. I was working at Wells Fargo as a bank teller at the time. And I just remember being at work, stressed out all the time. You know, it just was poor. It was just poor. I was not seeing my family. My belongings were at my daddy's house. I would go there occasionally to change out clothes or things of that nature. So I had my Yorkie King at the time, and so sometimes I would leave King there. And then when my daddy was getting on me about leaving King, I started to take him with me. And it just caused a lot of friction because I just wasn't talking. I wasn't expressing what I was dealing with, what I was going through. Things got bad to the point where it was one occasion where going to Pennsylvania with him, he had an aunt She lived in Pennsylvania at the time with her husband. We drove my car to Pennsylvania and we stayed there for the weekend. And I remember that weekend was terrible, you guys. The first night in Pennsylvania, I was drinking a Pepsi. And I remember him saying, you need to stop drinking all that Pepsi. That's why your face is so ugly now with all of those bumps. You know how when you're with somebody and you open up to them and you share with them your insecurities about yourself and they turn around and use it against you. And it hurt my feelings so bad. And anybody that knows me for real, like, I'm a firecracker. You know, you come at me, I'm a come at you back. But like I said, I was just so vulnerable, and I was fragile, and I really could not defend myself like I normally would. We argued like the whole weekend. I remember October of 2012 because it was like towards the end of October. I remember having to leave my sister's house because he called me to tell me that he was being arrested. I come to see what's going on. They speak about warrants and they arrest him. I went to the court gate, and I remember walking in there, sitting in the very back. And I remember on my left side was a grown woman, and her daughter. And on the other side was Daryl. And so I was just confused because I'm like, why are we here? The mother began to speak when the judge asked her to. She explained in the court very emotionally that Daryl had hit her daughter. They had put her daughter's picture up on what do you call those? Like a projector screen in the court. And the daughter's eye was so swollen and dark in that photo. And the mom is crying. I'm in the back of this courtroom, now embarrassed because I'm here to represent you, only to find this out. The judge sentenced him. I want to say, y'all, he had like a month. After I heard what happened, after the judge gave him his time, I didn't even like say bye to him when he walked out, nothing. I didn't even wait for him to walk out. I got up and I walked out of the courtroom. I went to the car and I was crying because I was just like, why would he do that? I had no clue. I really had no clue that he could escalate like that. Before I left the courtroom parking lot, his phone was vibrating, right? And mind you, we didn't check each other's phones. And I didn't have a password at the time, but I didn't check his phone, and I made it clear to him that he didn't need to check my phone. For what? But his phone was going off, and it was just something in my gut that just told me, pick up his phone and look. So when I looked, it was like a couple missed calls, but also I saw that he had a Facebook message who was telling him that she was pregnant around, I don't know, 7.5, 8 months, and that he needed to be ready to take care of his child because it's his. I remember my sister's birthday rolled around in November, mid-November, and I remember she told me her birthday plans, how she really, really wanted me to come, and I told her I'll let her know. So the day of my sister's outing for her birthday, I'm sitting in the house, and I knew to expect a call from him around 9 something because he made calls at the latest time that he could to make sure I was in the house. We talked for the little time left that he had, and we were off the phone. And I remember I was sitting there and I was just like, this ninja is in jail. And I'm sitting up in here in the house, being home for him, and he's in jail. He's in jail for hitting a female. I told myself, get up and you're going to your sister's birthday get together. And I did. And I cannot find the picture to save my life, y'all. If I do, for some reason, by luck, I will put it in this video. Just how happy my sister was to see me and to see me show up to her birthday gathering. I will never forget that. You know, Daryl had did so much throughout the relationship. He had lied to me one time and said he was doing a photo shoot for his tattoos. And he posted some pictures from it, you know, on his Facebook. And then when we got in an argument one time, he posted the remainder of the pictures from the photo shoot, which was not a photo shoot. It was the most bootlegged, ghetto-ass shit I had ever seen in my life. I remember we got in an argument. I was smoking Black and Milds at the time. I was smoking weed at the time. So I remember taking King and we walked up the street to go to a corner store. As me and King were walking back from the corner store, I see his car pulling up towards me as if he was like going to almost hit me. He pulled over on the side of the road and he was yelling and screaming at me, saying it was dangerous to be walking out here late at night. At this point, he's yelling at me, I'm yelling back. And I remember him mushing me in the face on the side of the street. It was definitely an aggressive mush. That's when stuff started to get real. It was at the beginning of December where we get in an argument. Me and King went in his great-grandmother's room and I was chilling. I had the door closed. And I remember him pushing the door open and saying, "You don't close no effing doors around here." I didn't say anything. I just got up and I closed the door back. He did it again and was like, "Didn't I say don't close no effing doors around here?" Pushed the door open. I got up. I closed the door again. I was holding the door with my hand and waiting for him to try to push it again. And when he pushed it again, he pushed it hard enough to knock my hand off the door and the door hit me in my face. I remember immediately blacking out. I went at him and I remember us going at it in the hallway, you guys. Like, oh, and it made me so mad. And so we were going at it. Time, like, I realized what I was doing. We were from the hallway to his bedroom on the bed, and I remember being on top of him, punching him. He wore glasses. The glasses was knocked off. Like, I remember just going in on him, like, just wailing on him. And his great-grandmother heard it. She came upstairs. She stopped it. She pulled me off of him. And I remember after that, I just knew, like, he's never going to touch me again. He knows. Like, he knows I can put up a fight. He knows that I'm going to mess him up, so he's not going to touch me again. And I was wrong.
They try to freshen up, somehow we tend to get cleaner. Alexander St. Germain, I got a runway demeanor. I ran away from commitment to politic with the dreamers. No ID with me, we put them racks in their Prius. They locked me in that cold.